What an amazing little affair in the sky. It was like the sky making love with itself, that golden moon going down, looking like the sun coming up in the west there for just a little bit. But we made the best of it, had a good time, just like you do here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Only and exclusively on Everclear Hazy Radio Network there, the very center of your universal heart, as we give you that good start. Early in the day, you got Grandpaw Coyote, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the whiny, weeny dog of grand intelligence. You got the angels and the ancestors who are angelic too. You got everyone you ever wanted right there with you right now, helping you make it through. That's why we're winning this human race right here, right now, today, man. And guess what? Guess who the losers are? No one. When the humans win the race, everyone wins the race, and there is no race no more. The competition's over. Y'all can relax now, let go of the politics and the religion and the other bullshit corporation reality things we've been dealing with, and just be in love with life. And as you find yourself in love with life, my goodness, big surprise, you're in love with everyone in it too, because by golly, they got the same vibration as you do. The same love, the same person in them too, even though each has their own unique little personality. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, we just such great little fuzzy butts. Speaking of personalities and love bunnies and shit like that. Well, you know, we got a lot of work to do here on the political and banking environment over here on the Turtle Island side of things only. My God, it's gorgeous out there today. You just can't believe it. Nothing seems important. Nothing seems to even matter except for this moment right now when I look out that window and amazed at the gorgeous golden sunrise coming across the valley, the beauty of the San Juans over there in the west and Sangre de Cristo here to the east. My God, what else matters? Just breathe, just live, just be alive. I hope you live in such a place as you can feel that way right now. Just all gathered together with life. None of this other political chicanery matters. I mean, yeah, we're putting up with a national embarrassment here in the US of A with the two we've got running for office. But, babies, I got to tell you, I think the gig is up for both of them. The one is an incompetent buffoon who couldn't, wet his way out of a wet paper bag. I'm sorry, but, that's the view from here. And it's pretty clear, just like the valley below. Oh, my goodness. What a precious day to be alive. And even putting up with a buffoon and a you-know-what on the other side, man. WikiLeaks is pretty much, talk about wet papers bags and wetting them down. Well, WikiLeaks is doing a really good job of it, babies. It's the end of politics as we know it. It's not just the end of one person's political career. Though some people would think that she's being totally picked on, she's not. She's being exposed. But along with her, the entire U.S. government and all of its secret and dirty operations. I mean, the drug dealers are right there in Washington, D.C. They don't have to go any further than that. Or Langley, Virginia, as the case may be. But it's a coalition made up of insiders in our government. All kinds of things are being exposed. Apparently, oh God, this is so sad. It makes me want to cry. But apparently, these people honestly did off Justice Scalia of the Supreme Court down there in Texas, as he was enjoying himself with a little turkey shooting and a little hanging out at the Rancho Deluxo down there. Baby, you were going to vote the wrong way on something, or you already did, or you're going to expose something. Bye-bye. But the WikiLeaks has the evidence now that connects these individual persons with that particular, well, let's call it a murder, because it was. They said it was some kind of accidental death or some hell. I don't even know how they came out on it, how they whitewashed that thing. But it was obviously an assassination, and now the proof's there. And more of it coming along all the time. This isn't just about Hillary and Bill, and the Clinton Foundation. This is about politics in general and how dirty it has been. and how many people are involved in it. The exposure runs the gamut. You see, this is the real October surprise, and you know, the news media hadn't even got a clue yet, but they'll catch on. They're going to have to. This is the end of government in America. It may signify a return to a lot higher states of being as a result of the failure of our government and the people in it. But again, babies, we ain't letting them get away with it this time. We're staying loving. We're going to wish every person we ever see more love, more abundance, more happiness. We want everybody free, including Hillary and Donald, you know, Donald the Duck. He better be ducking because it includes him too. He seems like an outsider. There is no billionaire outsiders. Wise up, America. Wake up. I mean, even in those emails that WikiLeaks had, mostly they're John Podesta lately, but oh my goodness. They're talking about how can we work consciously. Look, the public's starting to awaken. We got to keep them unaware. How can we do this? I mean, etc., etc. The crimes and the criminals are without limit. It includes them all with one or two exceptions. I think that little leftist Bernie is one of them. I think Bernie will ultimately be, now this is me coming out with a Coyote prediction, so take it for what it's worth. But it looks to me like, you know, Bernie had his life threatened, his family threatened. This is what it looks like to me now. This is opinion. I got no proof of that. Though there's plenty of it in the WikiLeaks documents, so go find it. It's there, you know. But anywho, long story short, the dude was just literally obliterated, politically and morally and physically. He was obliterated and pretty much put out of the race. And he's been real quiet. He's had to go and kiss her skirt a time or two, but otherwise he's been real quiet, you know. And of course, you know why he would go and kiss the skirt. Babies, look how many, what the body count is already. Just around those two. You know, and think about Bernie. Well, shit, he didn't want to be another one now, did he? So maybe he took the wiser course, and maybe he's just biding his time somewhere in the background. Tears in his eyes, I'm sure. Because he's a bit of a reactionary, too. But he's honestly, basically a decent guy. And by rights, he won the nomination by a landslide, and he would win the presidency in the same way because there's not another choice anywhere. The whole government, and probably him included, is guilty as sin of their corruption, but I bet you he's gotten away from most of it. He might get colored and contained in it because he is a politician, and politicians naturally have to deal dirty. They just do. It's part of the game. If you can rise above that fray and remain a senator or congressman and a living, breathing person, you've done something in this reality. Because the tide has been totally against you since LBJ became president by vicarious means. And that was the message of the JFK assassination. Don't screw with the background system because we own you. And we'll do the same thing to you we did to JFK too, and they've proven it again and again and again. The body count is phenomenal. And it goes way into the millions and billions. Heartless souls that care little about human life except for the taking of it, which will make them money. And shut people up and get them out of the way. See, that's been the general flow ever since JFK. Now, if you do your research, you'll find it's true. And it makes the JFK assassination look like just what it was. A coup d'etat, in my humble opinion. Where the evil natures took over America full control. They'd wrested it away from Eisenhower back in the 50s and the early 60s. Got their little secret government thing going on. And then Kennedy came along, and I'm sure he discovered elements of it. There was all kinds of things he's doing that was going backwards to the flow of the dark ones, don't you know, that like to run things, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. And so unfortunately, the universe allowed this to happen so that maybe the shock of it would finally awaken the American people at some point. And when I say the American people, I'm talking about the residents of Turtle Island, not just the U.S. Canadians are in it thick as thieves. Mexicans, holy hell, you're a subdivision of the CIA. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. But thank goodness, we can all breathe a little easier. I know it's going to be a hard shakeout for some of you who are so devoted to this humble woman that ain't humble in the least. But you got to understand, these people are used. They're trained into this from the time they're tiny children. They are tremendously abused. I have nothing but compassion for those folks. Despite all the murderous ways they've put into practice here, I have nothing but compassion for them. Because I know how used and abused they are. I know what it takes to be in a murderous position like that. And to have that devil-may-care attitude. That doesn't just pop up in human beings. It's programmed into them. Savagely so. You got to understand the nature of the invaders here. They are savages. They make our, what's that word, barbarism, look innocent by comparison. Yet they do the savagery through us and through individual human beings. And we've allowed it to be, for the sake of rehabilitating the entire human race and ultimately winning it. So now the two sides no longer are sides of anything. The polarities cease to be. Because you can open your heart naturally and see truth. And yes, we're going to see this government fall. It deserves it. It's been, the body count, like I say, just goes on forever. It's been wickedly deserving of exposure since God knows when, at least since JFK. And even before that, do your research, honeys. It's out there. The truth is. And you may have to wade through a whole bunch of bullshit to get to it. Well, that's the way bullshit is. You got to ferment it down to the basic elements. Then you find the reality. The little nuggets of truth that set us all free. And we can survive a tragedy as large as this. And come out of it smelling like a rose as the true enlightened human beings that we are. We're no longer a race. We're a tribe of brothers and sisters, given in peace forevermore, because we can't even think the thoughts of war anymore, because truth has exposed the savagery and we find it intolerable, and we no longer will be there. We find these folks that committed it all innocent. You got to get over your hatreds and your bigotry and see how programmed these operatives were, from the foot soldiers that killed you, to the pilots dropping the bombs, to the generals giving the orders, right up to and including the White House and the cabal beyond that. Innocence prevails there, believe it or not. It just needs exposure so it happens no more. So they're guilty for a moment, but they're innocent because they're programmed to be the guilty. You see how that works? Every one of us is subject to some kind of programming. Every one of us. Some of us more than others. But all of us culturally conditioned by programming. Programming that works like automatic pilot under the surface in your subconscious mind until you take a look at it. The minute it's exposed, it ceases to operate that way. Well, that's what you're seeing politically now. Exposure up the gazoo. And it won't just be WikiLeaks, because if they somehow manage to get to them, somebody else is going to pop up the next minute with even deeper and darker secrets to expose. Our government has been heinous. The practitioners within it, nothing but pure evil. Satanists through and through, and Luciferians too, but the Luciferians don't have nothing to do with Satanists. There's a class distinction there. Just the same, let's not concern ourselves with all those ruckus little details. Don't matter who's who and what's what. It is what it is, and it's being exposed and let go of in the exposure of it. It's a return to innocence such as this earth hasn't seen since humans first sank into the density. And the warped expressions of genetic life that went along with it. The limitations and the beginning of the subconscious, which was dumbness. It took all your brilliance and put it in a subconscious mind. So you couldn't even access it. Except for in limited ways. Well, guess what? We outlived the skullduggerous boogers. We went through it all for millions and billions of years, man. Everything they could dish up, we went through, and we survived. And guess what? As the little love bunnies we are, we're coming out of hiding now to thrive. It's coyote medicine through and through here in this human race that we're just winning. And babies, for those of the darker ways, yeah, it's the end of the line. For the darker ways, not for the beings and presences in it. We simply return to love, conscious present love, which is creative, which is the mother love, which pretty much prohibits, just by its activity, anything of the darker way or the evil nature. Love is love, and love is loving, and it's a mother, and you think it's going to hurt its children? Not for a second. That's our reality. That's our truth. That's the end of the line for the old ways. That's what we're here sharing with you today on this Free Day Friday. Getting it free, don't you see, on the Hazy Radio Network with Grandpa Coyote, the Coyote Medicine Show, which is, of course, your morning wake-up call and so much more. Somebody beat that tom-tom over there and that drum over there, and somebody hit that cymbal, will you? We got to wake these folks up. They've been rocking backwards for so... Oh, look at that. Don't need none of that loud stuff. They're waking up just soft and gentle as you please. Baby, it's the end of the line for the political reality. To which we say, hey, goodbye, and thank you very much for your awful service to us. We can take it from here, babies. That much is clear. Oh, darlings, there ain't nothing quite like that feeling when you've been out there dealing with the flatlands and the eastern hills and all the craziness that goes with it. And finally, you're headed back west, going back to the land what's the best for you anyway. And there you are coming across those eastern prairies of Colorado, and there are the mountains finally poking up into the sky beyond the far horizon. And there's nothing like that feeling you get, because you know you're coming home. Finally, the mountains are there to embrace you. Finally, you're starting to feel secure. Because when you're out there dancing around those flatlands, baby, that's no man's land. That's crazy places. That's, uncivilized turf out there, man. You know, they got a big black sign right by the edge of the rock. He says, don't go there. Well, I exaggerate ever so slightly, but there's still nothing quite like the feeling of coming home, especially when you're a cowboy living in the West and you've been compelled by economic realities to travel around in other places and do other things that you would just as soon not do, but there you are doing them. Because you got to make that old almighty dollar and just make the girls holler because you got $1, right? Yeah, right. Doesn't quite work that way, does it, you know? Yeah, but there still is nothing like the feeling you get when you're coming home and you see those mountains popping up out of the prairies. You know you got it made, man. And there's nothing like the feeling turning up T Road coming towards Crestonia here, too, or Crestonia. Man, these mountains just reach out and love you. There's not a sight like it anywhere in the world. There's lots of glorious mountains. I'm not making these any better than anybody else's, but wow, what a sight. You see, and those are the feelings you remember, because that's when you're going with the flow, man. That's when you're feeling right with life, and things are starting to go your way. Now, we got to help those folks up there in North Dakota that are protesting that nasty old pipeline to have that good feeling, so that they won't get so harassed and the cops will just have to back off, because there's nothing there to mess with, you see. So let's just help everybody up there in North Dakota around that protest site, participants and, you know, the fuzz. Let's just help them all just calm down, relax. Maybe we can get some, you know, mutual discussions going around campfires tonight. Maybe people could start to develop understanding between one another and why they're there and why this pipeline is such a big deal. Like there ain't a gazillion others. This one is the last one to ever be thought of in this way. Babies, if these people hold a stand and keep it non-criminal, don't bring weapons, don't go invading, Keep it non-criminal. But do the protest thing, man. And keep it going, and all the tribes supporting you, and all the tribes of humanity supporting you too. The UN is behind you now. You're starting to gain legitimacy. The press will not be able to ignore you much longer. You just got to stay peaceful. You got to keep that sweet, easy feeling. You got to think about taking it easy in that flatbed Ford, and it's a girl, my Lord. You got to live this way as you're doing your protests. You got to smile in the face of hostility and adversity. You got to insist that they free the journalists that they've been busting up there that's been covering your protest. There's 2 of them so far that I know of. What's her name? Shailene Woodley. And then another one, Amy Goodman, for heck's sakes. And she's going to turn herself in up there in North Dakota. They're busting press people. I wonder if these were Fox News reporters or CNN or somebody like that, if they'd get the same treatment. North Dakota, you should hang yourself in shame. You just shit on the Constitution of the U.S. You and your governor and your law enforcement. And shit on the hearts of the people, too, because you don't give a shit about us. All you care about's the money and the power behind the money. And the oil companies getting richer and the rest of us going to hell in a handbasket. Well, you don't deserve to be governor then. You don't. You should resign in shame now. And go join the protesters there at the pipeline. And tell the police to back off. As the former governor. You should do this. You've been hoodwinked, hornswoggled, and paid off. You should hang your head in shame, confess this to the people, and come and join the proper side. You see, folks, if you hold up there in the protest land and all of us supporting you, if we hold a good, peaceful heart about all of this and refuse to engage in anything that's criminal, but maintain the level of protest, keep increasing it, etc., this is going to bring about the release of the free energy technology and the end of the age of the pipeline and the railroad and the big trucks and the automobiles, etc. Trains, boats, and planes out the window. Free energy technology covers it all and then some, and we don't need any of that crap. And we already have it, and we have it in the background in secret ops for over 100 years. Some versions of it. Over 100 years. They've been denying us our natural inheritance. Why they develop it and think they're getting away with something because they're a slice of humanity nobody knows about. My backside. We all know. And that's why the flow's coming our way. That's why the protests going on up there. And that's why we're encouraging the protesters to just have a good heart about it. And you folks that are going up there to join them, if you find a violent soul amongst you, expel them immediately. Don't let them stay there. Anyone that advocates violence must be removed from your presence and not be a part of the protests. And you know who they are. They have a look, they have an energy, and usually they're a plant from the other side anyway. So you're only protecting yourself by throwing them out. And you got to hold high standards this way. You can't let anyone get violent. And please, don't conduct constructive trespass or destructive trespass. Don't go marking up the machinery and shit. Protest. Do what you're there for. Protest is not tagging things. Protest is not destroying machinery and equipment. Protest is not trespassing even unless you feel that is necessary for some reason or another. That's not criminal. That's more of a, what do you call that? Civil matter. Yeah. And should be litigated as such. But listen, you got to keep your hearts open. Don't look at the other side as the enemy. Look at them as your friend and bless them, so they will be your friend forever. And baby, you will see it happen. You guys are miracle workers up there. It's a miracle you're even getting away with what you're getting away with in this Nazified reality we live in now, isn't it? And think about how much better that can be if you just stay true to your heart. Hold it steady. Smoke the pipe every morning and get yourself peaceful. And I'll be smoking one with you tomorrow morning, whatever time, but sunrise, we'll be smoking together. Babies, make this the prayer of your heart, that all of this ends peacefully and for the greater benefit of all. Don't worry about the raggedy little details. Your sacred sites will automatically be protected if you work this thing out right. So babies, let the old coyotes help you out. The coyote medicine is one you ignore, generally speaking, as indigenous people, but across the board too. People are afraid of the real joke in life. They're afraid of truth then. And that's what makes you afraid of the coyote, because coyote is one thing, and that's truth. No matter how he or she displays it, coyote is truth. And truth is the way of the heart, the way we recreate the whole reality. Perhaps you guys could even do something greater up there. Perhaps you could open the gateway between the realms. Perhaps you'll be the site of the grand reunion, where all of our dead relatives and all of our cousin, uncles, aunts, and sisters from across the universe come together with the tribe of humanity, and we discover how huge our tribe really is, or remember. See? And we can end these divisionary ideas between us much in the same way, just by holding that dream steady in our heart, because that's our reality. We're the children of the stars, the children of the universe, meant to be the loving center of creation in our perception, in our experience. Far more powerful than anything you've ever seen in this reality, except the heart. The heart is the most powerful unit of energy ever assembled. And that heart lives in you, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all the rest of us too. Oki, by the way, is my whiny little weenie dog, my assistant DJ, who decided he needed some modelly coddling today. I wanted to share the wealth of his love of dog with you. Whenever you're having a violent thought, just see the face of that peaceful old dog. Feel the love, feel the life, and dissolve away the violence, okay? Dog ain't no backwards God. Dog is man's way of describing God and putting it in an animal to remind him of what God really is. Dog, love, loyalty, protection, truth. Simply given in a real simple and rudimentary sort of way, much like the heart does. Though not quite as, rough as the doggies do. But humans, you're coming home just like the doggies do. You're coming back to that simple, sweet love that the dogs have held for you. And some of the cats too, but mostly dogs on this one. An energy shared, of course, widely throughout creation, but most humbly and effectively imparted in the dog. Then, of course, people can mishandle their animals and change all of that, but it doesn't change anything. Dog is still loyalty. Dog is still love. However abused they may be. See how bad you hate the love in this life? If you're beating on your animals, what's that telling you? You're extremely frustrated with life and you hate your own innocence. And you'd like to kill yourself or kill that innocence within you. Why? It's the very thing that can save you. And you always thought you were naive and cumbersome. You're not cumbersome. Not in the least. You're a gifted magician of the highest order of the heart. True for each and every human being that lives, including those nasty ones we've been picking on in this year of political mayhem. But babies, even though we point our fingers every now and then here, it's always pointing back at ourselves. And we know how to equitize this stuff by allowing there to be equity in ourself. Then the grand reunion does occur. And effective protest has had an effect so profound that nothing will ever be the same again. People, we're coming around. We're not taking this shit lying down. It ain't just the Coyote Vibe Tribe. It's all over this earth. Which is the Coyote Vibe Tribe in the larger sense, because humanity is coyote, for heck's sake. So's Mother Earth. We always speak and act in metaphorical ways. We always have our tongue in our cheek. We're always chuckling in the heart area at the cleverness of what we're playing in life. Always. That's Coyote. Happy, delighted Coyote. Wise in the innocence of its very own heart, and therefore able to survive anything, and delighted to see the humanity doing the same thing. We've been through it all, babies. And once you realize that, then you will allow the reward to come your way. Okay? Free Day Friday on the Coyote Medicine Show. A different sort of flow. Getting you in the flow of the heart, don't you know? The reality of true love in motion, babies. And it don't have a damn thing to do with twin flame, does it? No. Well, a little bit, because, God, we're all twin flames, man. Look at that fire in the heart, you know? Sunlight. Shining bright through you right now. Wait till you get to the night. It'll never get dark around you now, will it? No, not ever, man. See, and you thought you were a cumbersome little oaf. What did you know?